The Sengoku Jidai, or Warring States period of Japan, is a time of rampant bloodshed. Samurai warriors, generals, and shogun incessantly strive to establish power through relentless military strife. There is no peace, there is no solace. Instead, the landscape rings out with the screams of clashing swords. While the combatants steal the people's fear and attention, they cannot do so without the very blades they carry. Among these bloodthirsty weapons are the cursed swords of Senji Muramasa, perhaps the most iconic swordsmith in Japanese history. Born in the 15th century, Muramasa hones his craft as a student of Heianjo Nagayoshi, a swordsmith from Kyoto specializing in spears and engravings. He goes on to establish his own Muramasa school of swordsmithing in Ise province, producing blades dated to be as early as 1501. While Muramasa blades are acclaimed for their superb sharpness, they are feared as having inherited Muramasa's ill and maddened mind. The blades are seen as living beings that thirst for blood, unable to be returned to their sheaths unfulfilled. Swordsmen are driven to murder or claim their own lives in this endeavor. In many cases, Muramasa's blades are forged with demonic attributes in an attempt to create an ultimate blade capable of slicing not only organic matter, but also spiritual and conceptual targets with ease. Senji Muramasa's swords feature unusual characteristics in their craftsmanship. They are said to have Muramasa-ba, or Muramasa-like edges. During the hardening process, a visual effect is created on the blade, a pattern referred to as hamon. The pattern is the division between a katana's hardened section and its cutting edge. Muramasa's hamon are considered gunome midare, with random wave shapes and narrow valleys. His swords are also known for their nakago, a portion of the blade concealed by its handle. Muramasa's nakago appear to be shaped like fish bellies. While little is known about Senji Muramasa himself, it is safe to say that his swords represent his legacy beyond sheer mortality. Before his blades develop their wicked reputation, they are coveted on the battlefield for over 60 years, while the Sengoku period comes to an end, with Tokugawa Ieyasu ushering in the Edo. The Tokugawa samurai, the Mikawa, favor Muramasa blades for their pristine sharpness. That is, until they leave a trail of misfortune in their wake. Ieyasu's grandfather, Matsudaira Kiyoyasu, is accidentally killed by his vassal with a Muramasa. Iwamatsu Hachiya loses his mind in a bout of drinking and stabs Ieyasu's father with another. Ieyasu's first son, Matsudaira Nobuyasu, is forced to commit seppuku and is beheaded by yet another Muramasa. While Ieyasu admires and owns two of the blades, passing them down the Tokugawa line as family heirlooms, future generations of the shogunate come to think of them as sinister. For this very reason, Muramasa's swords become a symbol of rebellion for anti-Tokugawa factions. Senji himself, long after his passing, is considered a curse against the shogunate, with his blades being wielded in battle all the way through the Bakumatsu period and the Boshin War. The sword's popularity even inspires forgeries to satisfy demand. As a result, only one of these many fine blades is designated as an important artwork in Japan. The Myoho Muramasa, once possessed by Nabeshima Katsushige, first daimyo of Saga, can still be admired to this day. That said, Senji Muramasa has crafted a more powerful and mysterious katana, such as the Muramasa Kishidae, bloodthirst legend in the sword's soul, famously wielded by Yukimura Sanada. This blade transcends the realm of demons, instead being imbued by a minor god that attempts to control its wielder. From birth to death, it appears that Senji Muramasa is a man who dedicates his entire being to creating a sword that can purge hate, cleaving through karma and destiny. While nothing he's done in life is particularly heroic, his talents prove to be useful in preserving the human order. In the modern era, humanity struggles to preserve the human order by resolving anomalies across history. Such an anomaly occurs in a distorted version of Japan's Shimosa province. Amakusa Shiro Tokisada, a Japanese Christian tormented by having his fellow believers exterminated by the Tokugawa in the Battle of Shimabara, maniacally seeks to bring hell down upon the land. He gathers the many sacrifices of innocent people and heroic spirits alike in preparation for summoning Onreido Castle as a channel through which to conjure satanic hell. The planet's will to protect humanity, the counterforce, summons Senji Muramasa so that he may prevent the oncoming disaster. While presumably noble, this summoning is rather peculiar. Because Muramasa doesn't consider himself a hero, his saint graph is instead merged with a human body to manifest as a pseudo-servant. The mortal dragged in to serve as his vessel happens to be a young man named Shiro Emiya. In life, Shiro Emiya strives to become a hero with every fiber of his being. An orphan from a horrific fire in Fuyuki, Japan, Shiro follows in the footsteps of his mentor, Kiritsugu, in order to save lives across the world. His origin is sword, granting him a unique ability to trace into existence the swords contained in his mind. He confronts himself, steels his body and mind to endure the cruel implications of his heroic ideals, and pledges himself to the planet to gather greater strength. Shiro accomplishes this, naturally, with swords created from his conceptual workshop, a reality marble known as Unlimited Bladeworks. Yet, with his own hands and his own swords, Shiro walks a path of unending bloodshed, tasked with killing the few to save the many. Despite being a savior, he does so standing atop a hill of corpses. In this regard, Shiro is the perfect heroic embodiment to merge with the likes of Muramasa. They are of like mind and body, having shared similar lives and meeting similar ends. In fact, it is quite possible that Shiro is a distant descendant of Muramasa. After being summoned to Shimosa, Muramasa questions exactly why he's there. The counterforce called upon him, but for what purpose? While searching, he witnesses as the day's blue sky turns dark, unleashing violent warrior ghosts that attack and slaughter a field of farmers. Muramasa rushes in and rescues the only two survivors, a young girl named Onui and her infant brother Tasuke. Because their parents were killed in the attack, Muramasa decides to take the children in and act as their grandfather. Yes, while he sports a body in the prime of its youth, Senji Muramasa still thinks and speaks like an old man. He takes the children and makes home of an abandoned smithy, using a bounded field to protect his new hermitage. He reasons that he was summoned for his talents as a blacksmith and dedicates himself to forging more blades, hoping to realize his ultimate sword. In the attempt, he forges a cursed blade known as the Myojingiri Muramasa, accidentally imbuing it with the conceptual realm of demons. It can cut most anything, but has the capacity to inflict harm on its user. While this katana is his greatest work to date, he deems it a failure. After about 2 months, the discarded sword finally finds its use, when Onui and Tasuke are on their way home. The sky grows dark once more, but this time the two are saved, not by Muramasa, but by Caldea's master Ritsuka Fujimaru and the legendary swordswoman Miyamoto Musashi. Collectively, they are pursued by an unkillable threat, Lancer Purgatorio, and wind up confronting him just outside Muramasa's hermitage. Disturbed by the combat, Muramasa enters the fight to save Onui and Tasuke. In life, he was never credited for participating in battle, but as a servant, he gains the skills of a saber. Using techniques meant for testing his blades, Muramasa dodges Lancer's spear and counterattacks with an art that blows his opponent's upper body apart. To his surprise, Lancer Purgatorio completely regenerates. With limited options, Musashi finds the discarded Myojingiri Muramasa and borrows it, ignoring Muramasa's warnings. Taking the chance to duel Lancer Purgatorio in earnest, Musashi battles her immortal foe to the death, ultimately landing a killing blow with her new sword, which slices straight through Lancer's curse of annihilation. As thanks for saving the children and demonstrating her sword skills, Muramasa gifts the cursed sword to her and winds up assisting Ritsuka's party as a consult. He offers them food, shelter, and advice as they investigate the heroic spirit swordmasters and ghostly warriors. This continues until Amakusa Shirotokisada is finally able to manifest Onreido Castle. Muramasa joins Ritsuka's team in storming the castle, where Amakusa Shiro reveals his plan to bring the hell that was Shimabara to the entire world. As the party is surrounded by searing flames, Senji Muramasa realizes that he was summoned for this very moment. His purpose is to create swords, but he needn't remain at his hermitage to continue forging. Instead, he has the ultimate workshop with him at all times, Shiro Emiya's Unlimited Blade Works. Through this reality marble, Muramasa uses the realm's countless blades to succeed in forging the ultimate blade, the demonic sword Tsumugari Muramasa. It is a recreation of a famous sword in Japanese folklore, said to have been found during the Age of Gods within the body of the vicious serpent Yamata no Orochi. Sure enough, it can cut through bonds, fate, causality, destiny, and karma itself. His skills have reached the territory of gods. With the sword, he bisects the hell of Shimabara and Onreido Castle in a single slash, destroying Amakusa Shiro's ambitions. That said, there is a cost in using such a divine blade. Muramasa is no god, and using a god's sword causes him to perish. Even so, he is satisfied with his creation, and glad to know that his sacrifice will pave the way for Ritsuka and Musashi to finish off Amakusa Shiro and bring peace for Onui and Tasuke. Indeed, with the help of the counterforce and Caldea's efforts, Muramasa's lifelong dream is concluded. His loved ones are saved, and the human order is preserved once more. Thanks for watching! If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and most of all, smashing that notification bell as if it were your waifu. That way you'll never miss out on all of my anime content, lore videos, live streams, and Holy Waifu Wars polls. My vids are struggling to get featured, so that bell is absolutely critical. If you want to support me directly, check out my Patreon, or consider donating via Super Chat. And as always, celebrate your fandom.